Doma Sports Talk, worldwide, with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed, baby. Now, the year 2021 in boxing is disappointing, to say the least. I've been doing videos about it, talking about basically there's not any fight that you're really salivating for. You know what I mean? There's some fights that's, oh, that's pretty good. But it's not the big ones, you know, the ones that we really want. And it's not one this year. And I said, you know, right in the comment section, so somebody came in and said, well, you know, Ramirez versus Taylor for that undisputed at 140, which I mentioned. It's a good fight, but it's not one you're salivating for. It's not one that you're really drooling for, right? But it's a good fight because undisputed, that means good fight automatically, right? Because the significance is there. But that's still not one you're drooling for. And for me, the reason why that fight isn't, because when Josh Taylor beat Rikus Prograis, I thought that was the fight of the best 240 pounders. Josh Taylor won that one. I've got Josh Taylor beating Ramirez, and not super easily, but I think it's going to be unanimous if he doesn't stop him. I don't think Ramirez beats Prograis. That's why Ramirez didn't join the WBSS tournament. Neither did Hooker, right? Who some people are saying was a punching bag for Virgil Ortiz. I did a video stating that's not the case. Hooker is definitely okay, definitely a good fighter. But I don't think that Josh Taylor versus Ramirez is the battle of the best 240 pounders, because I don't think Ramirez is that. I think Ramirez should go back and fight a postal, if you ask me. But it's okay. It's still a good fight though. But it's you know, we're talking great fight. You know, 2021. You know, when you waiting for the dates. You know, our heavyweights in the sport that you waiting for them. You know, like, oh, who's Canelo fighting, man? He's supposed to be number one pound for pound or whatever. And we know that Canelo got 168 locked down. He ain't fighting nobody that you know you salivating for, right? We know that. In other fights, you know, we just can't get them, right? So this is another thing. Now we have the old guys fighting. You know, Mike Tyson fought Roy Jones a few months ago, and it did well. It did 80 million. It earned 80 million for the guys. So I don't know how that was, you know, separated, who got what, but I mean that's a lot of money to generate for two old guys, Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, who I wasn't really that interested in. I watched it a couple of days after, but I wasn't that interested in that fight. I've done videos about that. But okay, now the one fight that I've always been saying that I'll be interested for if Mike Tyson gonna fight, and that's been Evander Holyfield. That's the fight, right? Holyfield beat him the first fight, you know. Then Holyfield was winning round one in the second fight, and Holyfield bit that ear, found a way out. So, you know, Tyson said recently that in my next fight, I'm not going to hold back. I'm going all out. So Holyfield's there. So what Holyfield said is, hey, man, the whole time he wanted to fight the first fight. He said, hey, me and my team, we've offered him $25 million. $25 million for two old geezers, right? That's a fight that we would all watch and we would get hyped for. Matter of fact, it would outdo any of the fighters that are fighting right now. If Holyfield and Tyson, I said that in my last video, fought right now or soon, we'll be more hyped about that than anything that's happening with the younger guys, with the real boxers that are still active, right? It would. We want to see that one, but we can't see it. It seems like Tyson has turned down that fight, and I don't know why, what happened, but it's always a Evander Holyfield problem. Let's make sure this is clear. In boxing, it's always the same thing. You know, some fighters know, hey, I ain't fighting this guy, right? So the reason why we got Mike Tyson versus Holyfield is because the GOAT was supposed to fight against Mike Tyson, which is Lennox Lewis, in my opinion. And Mike Tyson was like, nope, I'm going to get this dude $4 million. Way back then, you step aside and be quiet, and I'm going to fight Holyfield the easier touch. If you don't believe me, Google it. Holyfield will tell you this all the time. So Holyfield was the easier touch, and then it turns out that Tyson still lost. This happens all the time. Right now we saw with Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, you know, there was a $50 million and wasn't flat fee, and he could have fought Deontay Wilder for undisputed. Didn't, messed around, fought Andy Ruiz Jr. and lost, right? Although Anthony Joshua was back on top, but he lost that fight, fighting what they considered an easier touch for less money, right? Lomachenko, number one pound for pound. Didn't want to fight Devin Haney. We had a tournament, Lomachenko versus Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez versus Richard Coleman. That's what was supposed to happen. That was the tournament, right? That was the tournament. And Lomachenko just said, no, I ain't fighting Devin Haney, whatever. And then he went and fought, Lopez handled his business versus Coleman, and he went and fought Lopez and lost, trying to take an easier touch than Devin Haney. That's what wasn't supposed to happen. That can happen. It happens in boxing all the time. So at the end of the day, if we don't get that fight, it's just indicative of what 2021 is. I never ever have any good news. Never ever have any good news in 2021. So this is just how it's rolling right now. I would have been happy to see that fight or any big fights. Let's just hope something happens soon that just blows us away or whatever. Maybe I don't even want to say what I'm thinking, just for a few things, but you know, something that just blows us away, a fight that we really, really want to see. You know what I mean? And until now, and we're up in March already, we don't even have any fights to really look forward to. We got fights, but we don't have, ooh, man, that's going to be like that's going to be the Super Bowl, or that's going to be the playoffs or something. Not really. And that's the problem. So let's see if Mike Tyson, because this has been put out and that people know it, if Mike Tyson, has a change of heart, and if we can definitely get Mike Tyson versus Holyfield, because like I said, that's the only fight between two old geezers that I would be interested in. Let's see what's happening. Don't miss Sports Talk worldwide, and I'm about to hear y'all.